Well, today's the beginning of the second weekend in December, and before I begin this episode, I wish to apologize on behalf of yesterday's episode. Not that it was bad or anything, it's just somebody in the comments pointed out that I made a mistake of accidentally saying that this special came out a day before the actual Pearl Harbor attack. To note the fact, I'm sort of not good in history. I mean, I'm good at film and television and gaming history, but I'm not real good in, world history. Any of that stuff. I just assumed that people would know that the Rudolph special came out in the 60s, and it's, sort of like the fact that most of you would know, Rudolph came out in the 60s and came a day before the anniversary of Pearl Harbor. But, again, the words came out wrong, so my mistake on my part. But, by the way, that's what humans are for, right? We make mistakes so we can learn from them. And now, without further delay, here's a new episode of the Ferbguy's 28 Days of Christmas, a new remake.
Be a good little fella now and open the door!
Keep the change, you filthy animal.
So today we're taking a look at the bajillion remakes of one of the greatest Charles Dickens novels of all time to at least read around the holiday season, and that being A Christmas Carol. Now, as I stated before, any adaptation of A Christmas Carol is perfect and good to watch every year. Whether it be a modern take on it, or just being in 2D animated, or using motion capture, or live action, any adaptation of the classic novel by Charles Dickens is worth either a watch or a read, no matter how old you are. Though there are some stuff that you may need to be aware of in some of these. Today I'm talking about two different versions of A Christmas Carol. Both of these, at least to my acknowledgement, actually do stay close to the novel. This being the George C. Scott 80s TV movie, A Christmas Carol, and Jim Carrey's, or at least the 2009 on the latest adaptation of A Christmas Carol, using motion capture. First, let me talk about the George C. Scott edition. Let me tell you, this special is absolutely amazing. Probably one of my new favorite adaptations. It beats this one by a home run. George C. Scott's portrayal as Ebenezer Scrooge is absolutely brilliant. And besides that, this special is absolutely perfect. Essentially, you know the story of A Christmas Carol, and you have to know someone who at least was a bit like Ebenezer Scrooge. Of course, over the years, there's been many adaptations, as I stated before. This version that aired on TV and occasionally airs on AMC and Hallmark's Movies and Mysteries, which, actually, if you do have the HD Extra package on DirecTV, you might be able to see that. But this airs every year, at least to my acknowledgement, on AMC. The story is essentially about this grump, Ebenezer Scrooge. Jacob Marley, his former partner, died 7 years before the events of this film. Essentially, he has a new assistant, Bob Cratchit, who he basically treats like crap. And then one night, he gets visited by his old partner, Jacob Marley, in a ghost who's being forced to wear heavy chains and heavy bank boxes for the rest of his immortal life. And he basically Jacob Marley tells Ebenezer Scrooge that he's going to get visited by free spirits. And basically he has to change the ways that he treats Christmas and how he treats people. Because mean people can affect some people's lives. I know that for a fact. A Christmas Carol is absolutely probably one of my favorites. I remember taking a look at the Mickey's Christmas Carol a lot as a kid. There were some others that I discovered when I was in middle and high school. There was the Muppets, Mr. Magoo, and of course Jim Carrey here. And of course the Bill Murray one, which, again, I'll talk about those four later on. But first before I talk about the George C. Scott one and praising it for the best special that it is, let me talk about the one from Jim Carrey, to be more precise. on Stars, they had this movie, and of course I remember, like, hearing about this film in middle school. Heck, I was completely jealous of my, the graders that were, like, one of the, like, the 7th graders that were, like, 1 grade behind me. I mean, not because that I was jealous because they were going to see this movie in theaters, and I never really had the chance to. But it looks cool. I mean, at that time, I loved Jim Carrey. He was a real good comedian. He had a lot of funny moments in films and television. He was Stanley Ipkiss in The Mask. He was, like, think Harry Lloyd from Dumb and Dumber. I really can't remember. But I remember, like, seeing this film air on Stars. So I recorded it, sat down, saw it, and it's pretty freaky as hell. Not because of the visuals or anything. Well, actually, yeah, it is the visuals. But for the fact that there's a lot of, like, intense moments. There's, like, one part in this where there's, like, Jacob Marley's face on the knocker, on the door. And he looks up, and the next thing you know, his jaw just, like, jumps right open, and it just, like, freaked me out. Like, but again, repeat viewings can sometimes affect the way you get scared of films. Some horror films I may be faced by, like Evil Dead, for instance. Well, to be more precise, The Evil Dead. While others may not scare me. But I think it was an okay film, though the motion capture is a bit creepy. Oh, but thanks to the bomb that is Mars Needs Moms, it took this film out. It took the whole idea of motion capture out of films for good. Now, George C. Scott's A Christmas Carol, which this one, let me try to take a look at when this one was released, because I don't know when. Oh, in 1984, there we go. This, I love this version of A Christmas Carol. It's, from what I could tell, it's real close to the original story, and it's completely insane. But also, I love George C. Scott's portrayal as Ebenezer Scrooge. I mean, sure, you might find Jim Carrey's version to actually be kind of good, but sometimes there are some people that are freaked out by motion capture, but there are some people that are freaked out of Rankin Bass. So, no point going there. But if people were to ask me what is my favorite adaptation of A Christmas Carol in terms of being close to the novel, this would be the top crown here. It's a real excellent movie, and from what I heard, the film is already out on DVD and Blu-ray, and of course, if you're lucky enough, you might see it air on Hallmark Movies and Mysteries or AMC. So, definitely, I highly recommend you see this version of A Christmas Carol. It is one version that, hopefully, you will not regret seeing. So this is part 1 of the Christmas Carol tellings, so stay tuned tomorrow as we continue on. From that point, I'll see you guys later.